So I posted a tale of two choices, just basically a question about what would you do if you woke up. I kept it vague just enough to get people to kind of respond and see what they would say. Who picks option B and option A? And I'll read the short post and then we'll get into kind of the longer one that I wanted to cover after you make the choices and what happens. So I wrote in the post, you have arrived. All the hard work paid off, and you wake up one day achieving the financial stability coupled with the body you desired. Your life is engineered exactly as you saw in your dreams. You're still single and now highly sought after. Your choices are A, casually dating and getting women pregnant who fit your criteria to have your baby. You're not going to be present and you will not settle. She knows this. They all know this, and you're honest about it, and they're fine with it anyway. You'll never marry due to the current legal frameworks, and the market is now heavily tilted in your favor. You'll have plenty of children with plenty of women, and half of them will marry with a cuck, most likely. And then option B for you will be you find a woman who matches all your requirements, and this might take longer than expected. You'll lead a traditional household. You're limited to a few children at most, and your wife will age gracefully beside you. Women, beautiful and young, look at you, and they would if you wanted, but you chose the traditional life. So one day you wake up, you have arrived. And I said, be honest, what would your choice be? So from some of the responses, well, at least most of the responses picked B. So the traditional lifestyle, which was a good sign. But we had a couple people, and I'll read their post, actually, that said, actually, they would do A. And it went, where was that? It says, if it's consensual from both sides, then A would be okay. And there are women who want your kids for genetics. Or say if you have some magical genes that reduce offspring of being diagnosed with cancer, something that women will see as making you genetically superior. So he went off on a little extreme in there, but then it says there's really no different than guys being sperm donors. However, I think in practice, women are generally going to be too emotional, and whilst they might be okay with it now, later down the line, either the woman or the kid would want some kind of relationship with you, and that is why sperm donors are always anonymous. If people go down this route, it'd be better to make it 100% transactional, ideally with a contract, with payments, etc. And without going too far off point, it's the kind of argument that illustrates benefits of pay-for-play relationships. So interesting. Now, what I wanted to talk about was what happens when you do make the choice, and what choice should you make. So I'll sell you on the first one, why A would be so good. So you could say, start it over in your mind. You wake up, right? It's something, and you are exactly what you dream of being. It's a topic. We actually don't discuss this if you think about it. The manosphere never talks about what happens when a guy actually does all the work and arrives at that place. The red pill's kind of really focused on step one, live, step two, talk to women, get dates, smash, blah, blah, blah. So for sure, this doesn't get discussed enough in the manosphere or in the red pill space. I'm pretty sure on that. I haven't seen anybody kind of talk about the morality of it all. So where in these communities, we're told that guys should be grinding and they're, supposed to be building. You're supposed to finally be making it in life when you start to have some what do you call it, discipline and all this stuff. There's an assumption that once you arrive, that once you finally have this money, the body that you've always wanted, right, and the status along with that the hard part is over for you and that you won, the game of life, essentially. But that's not true. Actually, it's not even true at all, because what actually happens to you is you'll wake up one day and you really have arrived, like actually your real dream life, not the fake version where you tell yourself that you're okay, but deep down inside, you're still grinding, or you're missing some things, or you're still stressed about money, or still wondering if you're going to make it. Not that okay. We're actually, you are here. Your dreams are true. So you've arrived for real. And then the brutal discipline, right? Imagine the relentless focus, the years of sacrifice where you said no to all the fun shit, all the partying, all the distractions, every easy path. It all finally paid off, and now you have that financial stability that you've engineered. You built the body through the thousands of hours in the gym, right? And a life that no longer struggles for resources. So now it's a game of managing abundance, which is what most guys, 90% of guys, never achieve. So you're still single, but now you're the prize. And the shift is undeniable. Women that wouldn't look at you 5 years ago are now initiating. They're now pursuing you. They now qualify themselves to you. And the market tilted entirely in your favor, okay? And this is peak, literally. Right when you think you won, you face this fork in the road that's going to define the whole second act of your entire life. And it goes something like this. The first path is that of the conqueror, you could call it. And it makes a seductive promise to a lot of guys. It says that you didn't sacrifice, and this is your own voice speaking to you. I know because I've been there. You didn't sacrifice all these years of building your life, building yourself just to cage yourself again. You didn't escape this fucking matrix just to walk back into a different prison, right? This is your voice telling you this. So you'll decide to use this new leverage you have for your position for maximum freedom and genetic proliferation. So you'll operate from radical honesty, from abundance mentality, and then you'll casually date women who fit this strict criteria, but only on your terms. And you're brutally transparent about the entire arrangement from day one. There's no guessing here. You're not going to settle down. You will never be a present husband or a father in the traditional sense, and you'll never marry under the current legal frameworks, right? And we know that this strips men of their power and their assets. How screwed up the biases are in court. The woman, she knows the deal completely. There is no deception for her. There's no false promises. You're not lying about anything, no leading her on. And if she agrees, what's the problem? She agrees to have your child. So she did it with full knowledge and agency. You didn't trick her into this. And she's understanding exactly what she's signing up for. And you provide financially. You're not abandoning anybody, just dumping seeds in people and walking away. But your presence is limited. And your commitment to yourself comes first, always. So your life becomes a series of short-term alliances where you probably maintain complete control over your time, your resources, your emotional energy. And this path ensures that you will have many children with many women, scattering your DNA far and wide. You're like the Genghis Khan of the day. So you're maximizing your genetic footprint in a way that mirrors evolutionary success of apex males throughout history. It sounds fucking good. I mean, the logic is compelling as fuck when you think about it. Why should you limit yourself to 2 to 3 children when you could have 10, 15, 20? Why should you bet everything on one woman when modern women, I mean, just look at the divorce rates, and the legal systems are designed to destroy men? Why should you sacrifice your freedom, your time, your peace, for fuck's sakes, for a social construct that no longer serves you, the man? Think about it. It's highly seductive. And you've seen the stats. I don't need to keep repeating them. 50% divorce rate, 80% initiated by women, family courts that favor the mothers heavily, financial devastation, even when you did everything right. So the conqueror path lets you enjoy the fruits of your labor without the systemic risks that comes with a legal commitment. This sounds reasonable. It sounds like a strategy, right? It sounds like the man making the smart play here, doesn't it? But then here's the part that they don't tell you about this path. What you won't see until years later, until it's way too late, because the cost of this freedom, by the way, is control over your actual legacy, not just your genetic one. Understand it like this. Your children will exist, yes, but they'll be raised by women you don't see at all, most likely, and influenced by men who aren't you, maybe weaker men. Maybe much weaker than you. Maybe men whose values are actually the opposite of yours. And maybe men who resent the child that isn't even theirs. Can you imagine that? So you will have sons you will never teach to be men, daughters you'll never protect from predatory men, and the children who carry your DNA will get none of your wisdom, none of your discipline, none of your values. Half of your kids might have your genetics, but they're shaped by someone else's worldview. And there's no amount of child support that'll change any of that. This equation stays the same. You scattered your seed, right? And you got a bunch of quantity, but you have no quality control over what grows. None. Is that what you want after all this hard work? You know, the promise was the freedom. I totally hear you. But the reality becomes a different kind of emptiness. You're now 55, you're wealthy, you're fit, you're still dating younger women. And you have a dozen children who barely know who the fuck you are, who don't even call you for advice. They don't even carry forward your name. Nothing. Nothing that you've built carries through them, except maybe a last name on a birth certificate. That's about the only tie you have to these kids. So your genetic footprint, yes, it is wide, but your actual influence is non-existent. You reproduced. That's true. But you didn't even build a legacy. You may have conquered and taken that path, but you didn't create any kingdoms. You won the game, but the prize turned out to be absolutely nothing. in the long term. So that's why the first path is kind of a trap in and of itself. Now, the second path is the kind, I think you could call it the king's path. And it requires a different kind of courage for a man and courage to commit despite the risks I laid out, because the conqueror path, it's all 100% true and it could lead to problems, and it does often so for a lot of men. But you didn't break your back to build this kind of life to not have any say over your children. So you take the king's path. This is path A. So you're going to commit despite the risks, right? You're going to try to build despite the possibility of losing everything, to accept vulnerability in exchange for something that might actually matter for your life down the road. So you decide that true power isn't actually the conquest, but in cultivation. So the ultimate flex, if you see today, it's not spreading yourself thin across many women, but concentrating your entire force on building something that lasts beyond your lifetime. That is your seed, your legacy. So you're going to embark on this long and difficult search for one woman who meets every single one of your requirements. It might take a while, right, for a lifelong partnership. It won't be just beauty or just submission, but you're looking for character, you're looking for values, you're looking for competence and the capacity to be a genuine partner in building something greater than either of you alone, right? This choice requires immense discipline because the vetting process is brutal. I won't lie to you. And the standards, they have to be non-negotiable. You're not looking for perfect. That's not even what I'm actually saying. But you're looking for, I would say, compatible, loyal, right? Capable, and willing to wait years to find it. That's then settle for someone who's close enough, because close enough in this equation isn't good enough because the stakes are too high. So once you find her, you'll build a traditional household. You lead a family with the clarity you're looking for and the purpose, right? And you accept that you'll have limited children, most likely. At most, 3 is the average, maybe 5 if you're lucky and if you're capable. And you willingly place the shackles of commitment upon yourself. You're going to trade infinite variety for focused depth, and then you're going to trade the novelty for compounding intimacy, right? There's a lot of trade-offs here. Freedom for legacy, another one. And the cost of this control essentially is opportunity, and it's a cost that you'll feel daily, right? And I'm talking like every single day. You will see beautiful young women who are available to you, who would say yes, who represent roads not taken, and you will have to choose every single day to walk away because you made a commitment, and that means something to you. So you're betting everything on one person and on one structure, and you're accepting considerable amount of risk for a concentrated legacy. And the risk that she changes also exists. The risk that the relationship fails, the risk that you chose the wrong woman despite all your vetting, the risk that the legal system destroys you anyway, those are all there. But if you chose correctly, if you led well, and if you build deliberately, your influence on your children will be absolute. Their values will be forged directly by your hand, their work ethic shaped by your example directly, their understanding of the world will be filtered through your wisdom. And you're building a dynasty, not just producing offspring. That's the big difference here. Your sons will know how to be men because you showed them every day. Your daughters will know what a strong man looks like because you were that for them. And your grandchildren will carry forward not just your genes, but your principles, your standards, your vision of what's possible. You're not scattered across the wind. You're actually concentrated into a fortress that outlasts you. That's the legacy. So look at where we are. You got influencers out here, and they're telling young guys that the conqueror path is the answer, that having 10 baby mamas is somehow winning in life, that spreading your seed is legacy building, and it's complete bullshit, and they know it is. It's the same empty hedonism that's repackaged as alpha behavior. The guys promoting this path are either lying to you or they haven't lived long enough to see the fucking consequences play out. Because I tell you what happens, and I've seen it in older dudes. You end up isolated, surrounded by people that want your resources at best, but don't actually want you or know you to be in their lives. And your kids grow up damaged completely, wondering why their dad was never there. And some other men, or I should say some other man, potentially multiple men, will shape those children's worldview while you're out chasing your next conquest. Is your ambition defined by this unbridled freedom and quantity accepting anything that moves? Well, you could have strict rules for fucking, or I should say for kids and not for fucking. So it's still a conquest, but you're accepting chaos nonetheless. and loss of control in another way that comes with that. How many men have built a ton of, what could you say, success, businesses, money, influence, and they got raped by an Instagram fitness chick? We know a couple of dudes that have invited fitness chicks over to their house, or Instagram girls, not even fitness chicks, but you know the types. And then they got falsely accused of something and their entire empire crumbles. You're messing with the wrong kind of women. Are you conquering, or are you opening up the gates to the barbarians in a sense, right? That's your one weakness in this conqueror's path, is that the people you're messing with don't have your back. The people that you're messing with look at you as the next meal in their life. So you have to imagine that your genetic footprint that you're building on both sides will mean nothing if your values die with you. So think about it. Or maybe, is it defined by focus, power, and quality accepting, right? Imagine that. The profound limitations and all the sacrifices, will you accept that? Will you do what's required to build all of that, right? Accepting, I would say, accepting that you're making yourself vulnerable to a system designed to destroy men in exchange for a chance to build something that transcends your lifetime, I think that's incredible. Because it's very easy today, with the low standards that we have, to like spread your seed everywhere, to go travel overseas, to smash and pass on a ton of chicks, right? Throw them out, scatter your seed all over the wind. And what do you have at the end? Strangers raising your own children. You're going to end up 60, 65, 70, wondering what your kids are doing, 15, 20. Now you think it'd be cool to hang out with your kids, but they want nothing to do with you. You were never there for me in the beginning. I have a dad already, my stepdad. How do you think you'll feel as a man there? You're going to keep trading younger women at 70, 80, 90 if you live that long? Think about it. The other guy is cultivating a garden behind those walls and accepts that his reach will be limited, but the depth is absolute. The other guy walls himself off and accepts nothing. It's barren inside his castle. So ask yourself, dude, you're going to wake up, you will have arrived one day, and be honest with yourself. What is your choice? Because you'd be surprised at how many men think choice A is the correct one today. So I'll leave you guys with that one. Let's talk about it. Because I know a lot more men would probably instinctually choose A due to the current climate we're in today.
Even with the climate we're in today, I'd probably still choose B.
Even after your
And
divorce?
that's just because yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just, so I realized the wrongdoings of how I ended up in that position.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm not willing to make the same mistake twice.
Mm.
And that's just because, and like in my mind, I cannot reason out having to juggle that many women and with kids from that many women. And my mind, I'm like, no, that's too much stress. That's a pain in the ass. I don't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
Like me, like the thing for my life is I like to de-stress it with as little shit as possible. So I only want to deal with the things I have to actually deal with. Everything else can kind of just fuck off.
Mm.
And so, yeah, and then even then when I was married to my ex, like some guys would be like, oh, like she's cute, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, bro, I'm already married. I don't care.
Mm.
Like, like go get it if you want. If that's what you want, go get it. And it wasn't until like in my head, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm probably going to just file for divorce because this is becoming BS. And I started noticing like other women and started entertaining the thoughts of other women.
Mm.
But like before then, it was like, nah, like whatever, yada yada. Oh yeah, like oh yeah, she's cute. Like yeah, she's cute. Whatever, go get him, bro.
Mm-hmm.
And shit like that. But like outside of that, like it's just I don't know. I guess maybe I'm just not wired that way. Maybe it's just that way I was raised.
Mm.
But I have too much going on in my life where I don't want to deal with like that many women.
I see. What if you could balance time correctly and you just had like the spinning plate thing? You just have a couple of girls that you like, and then you add some, remove some, and you're always having like a rotation. There's like 5 women.
Well, I guess really I'm kind of dealing with that right now, and really I fucking hate it.
Why?
and and so like I'm trying the spinning plate thing, and I'm like, this is like I gotta talk to these women. Like I just want to work, go home, play fucking video games. And I gotta give them fucking attention. Like I spend like and then not okay. So like I'll go to work. I'll work like 10, 12 hours. Then I'll go to the gym, and then I'll go home, like watch some TV, play some video games. And I got some batshit woman being like, "Hey, what's up?" And I'm like, "Do I have to talk to you right now?" Like, can I just like chill? Like, I just got home,
Mm,
and then so like sometimes it's like, oh, you didn't talk to me yesterday. Well, yeah, I was kind of busy. So
hmm.
and then it's just kind of like I don't know. I just it's too much. I don't want to deal with it. I already have enough going on as it is right now. And then me trying to figure out, okay, well, I mean, is this woman good? Is this woman not? No, is she a side chick or just like a fuck
Mm-hmm.
buddy? I don't know. We'll see. So, and then
Yeah.
trying to like talk to some other women and try to like sort through them, and it's like this already feels like a fucking full time job.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I remember what it was like. You have, let's just say you have five women. A couple of them are cool with you, texting only once in a while. A couple of them require much more attention. And then another one is super chill. She's just down for whatever. And managing that is, it's cool for a time. So you're grinding hard as fuck. You're working out. You got your job. You're hustling hard as fuck. You're making money. You're getting good sleep. And then when the itch comes and you're horny as fuck, you just call one of these women and they will all come. And if one is not available, you call the other. And so you get five different, the variety, right? The novelty is very nice. So you get these different women, all that have something really cool that you most likely like about each of them. That it'd be cool if one woman had all this stuff. So essentially you got this girl, girl A is for this, girl B will go chill and go to a festival, girl C loves hiking, she's the outdoorsy chick, girl D loves the gym, loves cooking and all that shit, and then blah blah blah. So, right, so you have different girls for different things. And for a moment it's really cool, but just like you say, it starts to wear out on you. And on top of that, you're always looking for more because maybe somebody falls off. They're also looking for other dudes, talking to other people, and so understand the risks there, STD wise and all that stuff. So what happens is you're kind of grinding it out. You got multiple women. You're having fun. You're not serious with any of them. You're not really in the whole catching feelings thing. And eventually, often you'll find out that a couple of them start catching feelings. So some of the plates fall and break. Then you got to replace them. Then you got to talk to other girls. You've been warming up other ones and talking to other girls. So then you start to go out. You're always going out on dates. You're always setting time for shit. You're always making time for these chicks. Your phone is blowing up with text messages. You're having 5, 6 different conversations at once, probably way more. You forgot to check your dating app. Fuck, you missed a date you were scheduling. All this stuff, right? So super repetitive. You're just going through the motions. It's fun in the moment. You sleep with a different woman or one of your favorites in your top 5 come through and you had a great night. Sexually, you're satisfied. You're thinking, holy fuck, dude, my life is actually awesome. And then the next day comes around and then you go, okay, well, the hunger for the feelings back. So it didn't satisfy you really because it was superficial. So you have this hole and that you constantly need to fill this hole and that this hole can only be filled with something substantial, purpose. So you're a purposeless man in the sense of you're not leading a family and you don't have kids and you're not the head of a household. Knocking bitches back left and right off Instagram, off of dating apps and all that shit, the bars, whatever. Not a fucking act. It's not hard. We live in a very sexually liberalized society. It means nothing. But to see a man successfully leading a family to be the head of his household, that's the increasingly rare thing to see today. If not almost like unicorn style, it feels like. Most people are on these situationships today. So then you'll start to see if you have a close group of guys. Some of them are married in there. Some of them are actually doing good. And some of them already have kids. They're married already with 4 or 5 of them. And they're going down the path of, family man. And they got shit together. Their wives aren't fucking annoying. Their children are actually amazing to be around. He's got a full house. He comes home to purpose, to people depending on him. And he's got energy to do things that you wouldn't believe because he has so many responsibilities. And I don't say that in a negative way. I mean, the type of responsibility that puts some pep in your step, that gives you energy and focus because that's your own seed that you're growing. That's missing from the conqueror lifestyle. You wake up for you. You do everything for you. You go to the gym because you feel like it. You eat clean because you feel like it, but you lack a 6th gear because you could be the same guy, but now you have extra motivation, extra purpose and discipline because it's not just me. I need to be strong for my sons, for my daughters. I need to be strong for my wife. I need to eat healthy for them. I need to teach them to eat healthy, teach them to work out, teach them my way of thinking, put discipline into them. All of this stuff gives you energy in life, deep into life. Because you may wake up, man, 45, 50, 55, you got all this shit, but all your peers by then will already have kids. They're all grown up. Some of them are divorced. Okay, yeah. So those are the tales to look out for. But a lot of them are doing just fine. Actually, they're doing great. And so that's the life you could have had because you're in the position to have had that life. We're going to assume you're not an idiot. You know how to pick a woman. You know how to lead a family. This applies to the men that arrive finally, not the dudes barely skirting by in life. Like those guys, if you're a simp now, you will be a simp, forever, unless you transform yourself. Don't think that a little bit more money and some time pass and magically you'll have, women figured out and your relationships will be great. No, you need active experience. You need to work, build, create, have some discipline, test yourself in the gym, get your body right, get your wallet right. All of this shit, it's going to take some time. And when you finally arrive, truly, not on an average level, when you got a great fucking body with a great fucking paycheck or a business or whatever it is, you're operating at such a different level mentally that we don't need to constantly say, yeah, well, if you choose right, it's assumed you already made all the correct decisions. You have self-control. You have a thriving business. I know you know how to pick a woman. So what happens once you pick the good woman and had that family? That's the A, B scenario you're looking at. Because a lot of guys will listen to this, will go, yeah, but it could go wrong. Well, yeah, you were never ready. You never arrived. You never got there. You hardly knew the woman you chose. The point is, once you've arrived with knowledge and experience. So when you wake up one day into the future, if you ever get to this point, the point I'm making is, what choice would you choose? And you'd be surprised, actually, how many men might even still pick A. But I have a inkling. My assumption is that most men who pick A do so because in the current point that they're at, they lack the knowledge and the experience. They're so starved for sex and attention in women that they think a lot of women will solve your problems or a lot of women is less risk. It's the opposite of that. Actually, more women is more risky to your professional future, to your career, to your business. More women are
So
more avenues for you to get screwed over. Go ahead.
I think so many men are like so risk adverse now. They're like, but what if? And I'm like, yes, what if? I'm
Yeah.
like, the point is you're trying to minimize that risk by choosing correctly and then by sorting out like what it is you want in a woman instead of just like having like kids with like five different women
Mm-hmm.
because you couldn't figure out and you're like, well, the risk was too great to get married. I'm like, okay, well, now you have five different women, five different kids. Guess what? Now you're paying child support for all those kids. Now your money is being sucked out of your wallet before you even see it.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're like, oh, like I could like have all these kids, blah blah blah. I'm like, yeah, you're also going to pay fucking child support. You think that all these women, they're, oh yeah, I'm just going to sleep with them. But if you think they're not going to bag in on that child support, you're wrong. They're going to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's a lot of assumptions. Like you can vet these women, but at the end of the day, for the ones that you don't have under your control, and I mean as in under your household with close contact, who you're both going in on raising a family, like these women have their own lives, their own emotions that they're slaves to. They got other men in their ears that'll tell them, other women in their ear that's going to tell them to fuck you over. Well, he's rich anyways. Just take his ass to court. Fuck the understanding. Girl, it's harder for you. Why don't you get his money? Blah, blah, blah. He can't just pump you with it. So much could potentially go wrong. I mean, if you do arrive at that level and you have plenty of money, it's not a problem. You can protect yourself. Your assets can be hidden and trust and all that stuff. Like you can work around all this shit and plan on that level, no problem. But again, dude, how are you going to feel later on watching some simp raise your fucking kids, right? Or a
And
woman, trying to take you to court with some false allegations. Can you imagine that?
I think in my head, I can't deal with that either. That's why I would still choose B because I couldn't deal with the thought of like someone else raising like the kid I had, like I created.
Mm,
And I don't, that seems like more personal to me, like than anything else is like my child. And so like that's why I almost ended it after like my divorce because my daughters. And because I was like, well, I can't, and now I can't do anything. So now I have to like, sometimes that thought will creep back and then I have to kind of like fight it off. But, And that's there's something so personal to me that I can't imagine someone else raising like my kids for whatever reason.
Hmm.
And that's like the most attached, and it's probably because they're part of me, and so it's like to me it's like the most attached part of me I could ever think of.
Hmm. I agree with that one. Yeah.